While I was in London to judge the 2019 World Championship in Shoemaking, I had an opportunity to visit Gaziano Girling's flagship boutique on Savile Row for a private tour with shoemakers Tony Gaziano and Dean Girling. Join me as Tony and Dean walk us through their entire collection and share with us some of the stories behind their most iconic models. I'm Kirby Allison, and I love helping the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes. Join me as we explore the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. So Tony, the shop here really is quite special. When did you guys open here? It was 2000?
We opened 2014.
Yeah. So it's amazing to think. You guys really are trailblazers. You're brave men, you and Dean. You were the first new factory to open in Northampton in over 100 years.
Yeah.
And then you're the first luxury shoemaker to open on the Row ever.
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
I'm sure, it's probably been a really long 5 years, but this store is exceptional. It's quite busy every single time I walk in.
Thank you. And yeah, it's quite unique in a way as well that, we wanted to give it a very lounge feel. It's not a typical shoe shop. A lot of our customers will come in, take a seat, have a cup of coffee or a glass of whiskey, and the whole point is that we don't want them to leave.
Yeah. Well, it seems almost more like an art gallery than anything else, the way that you have all these shoes set up. And you guys have quite a wide range of offerings.
Yes.
And you were the first British shoe company ever to offer a patina service.
Yeah, no, we were. I think shortly after we opened the shop in 2015, we thought it would be a nice addition to our range to be able to offer a service where all the shoes were hand painted to really the customer's choice. So we have within the shop various different colours in which the customer can choose from, but also he can make up his own combination.
Yeah.
And it really adds an extra element to Gaziano and Girling shoes where you can see more depth, more colour variation. And
it's that kind of updated English aesthetic. It's still an English shoe, but just updated for really the 21st century.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
If you've got a little bit of time, I think it'd be lovely to just kind of walk us through and show us.
Yeah, well, we have 3 or 4 different services, and what you see here is everything that we have in stock. So it's our bench-made shoe, which is made to the quality that we like to present, and we have pretty much all of these shoes in a full-size range, and they vary in style from summer slip-ons to kind of more autumn-winter boots, and everyday kind of business shoes.
Yeah, so what are some of your favorites here? Point out to us some of the kind of iconic models that you have.
Well, the most iconic would be the St. James, which is our #1 seller, the Adelaide, and in that colour as well, because the colour is quite unique.
Yeah, that would polish up beautifully.
It is.
Dark polish to give us an antiquing effect too.
Well, pretty much whether we do patina or whether we do like antique and finish, all of our leathers are crusts.
Okay.
So they're unfinished, which means you can feed them, moisturise them, and polish them, and they will last much longer than most leathers.
So anything that's not black is really coming in as a crushed leather.
Yes, exactly. Well, even the black,
really?
Is coming in as just dyed and not actually finished or waxed, and then we hand polish everything up. So everything is kind of porous, and we can.
It's all
feed
beautiful leather.
Thank you. Another model that we have, which is an iconic model, is the Burnham Chelsea boot. Very, very popular these days, and we're probably the only luxury manufacturer on a ready-to-wear level that does it without the seam down the middle.
Okay.
And so you get this beautiful, uninterrupted line, and that's one of our best sellers as well.
I think I hear someone at the door.
Yeah? Okay, let me just check. Oh,
look
Dean.
who it is.
Morning.
How you doing, mate? You all right? Yeah, not too bad,
See you.
thanks.
Hey, Dean.
Hi, Kirby.
Hey, great to see you. Thanks
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure to be in London.
Likewise,
Yeah. Well,
Good to see you.
you've come in perfect time. We were just, going through the range and kind of really showing off your beautiful new store you have here. I guess 5 years, not quite new anymore, but
Wow, yeah.
beautiful nonetheless.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, do you mind kind of, since you're here, if you have some time, I mean, walk through some of the ranges with us?
Absolutely, yeah, sure, no problem.
It's brilliant that you made it because, I mean, Tony, you're kind of the design brilliance behind this, and then Dean, you're kind of, definitely the brilliance behind the making and the quality. So.
Yeah, no, we make a good duo, and I was just going over with Kirby, Dean, our stock range and which ones are our iconic models,
Sure.
and just picking out selected ones which, we kind of become known for.
Any favorite, Deans? I mean, of amongst the, ready-to-wear collection, which, I mean, is one more challenging than the other to make, or does one just kind of speak to you more than the other?
Well, the Burnham hole cut Chelsea boot is a bit of a challenge because obviously it's a one-piece pattern, no seam up the sides, so that's a bit of a challenge. Obviously, you imagine the bigger the size,
the harder it is to
the bigger the piece of leather, so it takes up quite a bit of hide to make a pair of those, especially in a size 12.
Yes, and so I guess that's
one of my favourite clean sort of pieces that we make.
Beautiful boot, and I guess that small detail that someone would never think to notice is in fact an incredibly technically difficult detail to achieve.
Exactly, it's much easier to split the pattern up. It's much more economic to split it up.
Use less leather.
But we decided not to do that. We decided to bring a hole cut Chelsea boot to the marketplace, which very few manufacturers are actually doing. So that's one of our iconic kind of signature pieces.
Yeah. What else? I mean, again, so much of what differentiates Gaziano and Girling is the amount of work that goes into the making, right? Because the factory tours, people can see it. I mean, there's an incredible amount of work that goes into it. I mean, what else amongst this line, whenever you look at, you just kind of smile because you know the hard work that went into making it.
Yeah, well, in a Goodyear weld shoe, there's over 250 operations from start to finish, from actually cutting from the hide to lasting the shoe, sewing the welt in, stitching the soles on, finishing the shoe. So people are quite surprised when they come to the factory and see how much operations and machinery is involved, and handwork that goes into the handcrafted Goodyear welted shoe we make. Tony's pointing out there the fiddle back waist with a fishtail sculptured artwork in the bottom there.
All of these soles are oak bark as well. Yeah. So it takes 12 months to make the sole.
And one of the things a lot of people that we kind of talk about is, and of course in America you get the 360-degree welt, but you guys bring the welt just up to the heel in order to allow the heel to sit closer and more neatly on the back of the shoe. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that, just in terms of maybe some of the challenges that brings?
Sure. Well, it gives you a much closer seat. This is what we call the seat.
Okay.
So it gives you a much more elegant seat on the shoe. Very narrow, elegant, bespoke waist. And like I said earlier, we brought a shoe to the marketplace that has a very bespoke aesthetic, although it's a ready-to-wear shoe. Yeah. With Tony's design skills, my bespoke shoemaking background, that's what we aim to achieve and stand out from the crowd. So I would like to think that we, make a shoe that has a very bespoke aesthetic, elegant, and as Tony mentioned earlier, English oak bark soles, which is a 12-month tanning process. Yeah.
We visited
we don't cut corners on any of that at all.
Yeah, I mean, even the brass nailing and the tacking just shows a level of detail, and just the pitch of the heel and the way that, I mean, it's a beautiful aesthetic that oftentimes is lost on ready-to-wear shoes.
Thank you, yeah, so we use the brass pins and not steel. The reason we do that is brass is a softer material than steel, so it wears down along with the leather and doesn't stick proud and damage flooring and things like that.
Yes, can you imagine?
And also, steel sticking proud can be slippery as well on marble floors.
So how many stock models do you guys have in your standard kind of?
There's about 20.
Yeah, 20 to 25 we run in the store. Our top seller is still the St James 2, which is an iconic kind of style for us.
Yeah, and that's the one that you guys used as the basis for the shoes that you did for the Prince of Wales.
Exactly,
yes. Exactly, yeah.
And so taking it to the next level, I mean, you guys have the deco on the other side of the store. So do you mind if we take a look at that? I mean, this is, you know, basically Gaziano and Girling on steroids. I mean, it's, you know, the work that goes into this, especially from a factory-made shoe, was very technically challenging.
Sure. Again, we want to bring a shoe to the marketplace. You know, the Art Deco era was a very high society 1920s when aristocracy was dressed to the nines and the big balls and everything, and we wanted to bring a shoe to the marketplace that represented that, with a much more elegant waist. Much more handwork goes into these guys. That goes into the Bespoke product with a hand-cut, hand-set waist and a much sharper, more elegant last. And it does transform a shoe. I mean, you can have this Cat to Oxford shoe on a very conservative toe, and it looks very, you know, banker's kind of everyday shoe, but it sexes up when you put it on a deco last. Gives it much more elegance and stands out from the crowd.
Yeah, the finesse for sure. And the sharper toe, I mean, are there different lasts within the deco range?
Yes, we run a soft square toe that you see there, and we also run a nice, smart, sharp round toe as well. So they complement both.
And then how many models, because this again is ready to wear, so you can buy it from the website?
Yes, there's about 12 to 15 deco models we do on the deco with a deco spec.
Yeah,
it's worth mentioning as well that, you know, this quality of piece is normally done on a bespoke level. So, you know, you're normally producing one product over quite a long period of time. To manufacture the consistency of this type of shoe is probably the most difficult thing in the whole business. It's continuously producing, you know, there's levels of excellence, one after the other is a real challenge.
Yeah, it kind of brings its own challenges, and that's where you come in with your bespoke shoemaking background.
Yes, so, you know, guiding the craftsmen we have in the factory to put the handwork into these guys and make them what they are, basically.
Yeah, and so of course all of these can then be ordered in your made-to-order program.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if you, we have two more libraries of shoes. This one here, and the other one over the other side of the room, where the customer can come in. He can choose his toe shape. He can choose whether he wants a rubber sole. He can choose one of 50 different leathers, and he can make the combination up exactly how he wants to his taste. There's probably about 120 styles in our made-to-order range, and I think in all the combinations, I think they add up to about 6,000 different formulas of shoe that you can make up. So. Not to mention that even with these made to order, the size range, we go up to size 13, down to size 4, A fitting up to H fitting. You know, you could 99% of the time you can get from our made to order anything that you want.
Yeah. And one of the other important things I think about your made to order is a lot of people, I mean, of course, Gaziano and Girling is known for their kind of iconic, updated, slightly sharper aesthetic. Yeah. But in the made-to-order program, if you want a real soft, round, conservative banker shoe, I mean, you have that last that you can make any of those models in.
I think, you know, originally I think we were really kind of positioned as this, as a brand that kind of only made really sharp shoes. But the classics really get missed within our range. And we can make a shoe look incredibly classic. You know, we have the GG06 toe,
this guy here,
which is this one. Along with
a beautiful round toe.
Yeah, thank you. Along with you know, a traditional kind of cap toe Oxford, you can't get more traditional than that.
And this one even showcases some of the patina work.
Exactly.
So again, I mean, you know, once you're doing the MTO program, you know, not only are you choosing your last, your model, the leather, but you can even do custom patinas. I mean, you have standard patinas from which the customer can choose, but they can even take it a step further and say, you know what, I want, you know, fuchsia and yellow to match my Lamborghini.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's very true.
Can you do a custom patina? I'm sure you've had that request.
They can even have a Go Faster stripe on the side of that one. So, but yeah, no, we do that. I mean, you know, obviously this is a toy for the customer to play with. You know, it takes us 12 weeks to make the combination that he wants. And guys come in here, I mean, some are a little bit overwhelmed with the choice, but majority of the people that come in here and they almost lick their lips and think, right, I'm going to get stuck into this and really get the shoe that I want. So,
well, you have an exceptional staff here that is, of course, available to walk customers through that process.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, as overwhelming as it can be, I mean, you know, your sales staff, especially in this store, are very experienced and very seasoned, you know, shoe enthusiasts. So there's kind of no one better to really hold someone's hand through this journey. Really discovering fine footwear.
You know, they're not just kind of normal shop staff. They're people that are very deeply knowledgeable about the product, very interested and have a lot of love for the product. You know, when you've got that kind of interest in it, it makes it very easy to be able to kind of articulate to the customer exactly what, you know, they're kind of looking for. So.
Well, and then I guess all this kind of builds up to Bespoke, which you have behind you.
Yeah.
So can we take a look at those shoes real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So now it can be said that that all of your Bespoke shoes are now being made by the 2019 world champion in shoemaking, which we all knew from the beginning, right? Yeah. Because you know, we've all seen Daniel's work, but you know, I mean, this is, you know, really the culmination of the brand.
A lot of these original shoes were made by me and Dean, you know, we were the first team and
the dream team, the original dream team.
The original dream team, yeah. And then Daniel, Lewis, and Sam are the next generation. And there's some samples in here that are made by Daniel. But it's amazing to see these young guys' interest in, you know, there's an evolution to the craft and it's being pushed that step higher.
But certainly standing on your shoulders, right? I mean,
you
know, I mean, you guys were the ones that you know, originally set, you know, the mission, the standard for the company of what you guys were after.
Sure.
Are there any shoes here that, you know, that is, you know, having you guys here together, you know, you look at and just kind of bring back memories of like, gosh, I remember this shoe? And
well, ironically, actually, there's this one here. The two shoes that me and Dean made just before we started the company, this was one of them. The other one's actually we've just brought back from New York. But
so that's a nice antique.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's 12, 13 years old.
Yes, absolutely.
It was one of the first shoes we made for the company together and took on our first trunk show to sell from. So
it's a special shoe. I mean, it's hard to believe how far you guys have come, because we were kind of starting our businesses around the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you guys were first starting, I mean, it really was groundbreaking. You know, you two coming together, you know, forming a company together and really joining and teaming together to do, you know, not just bespoke shoes, but then to bring that bespoke aesthetic to ready to wear you know, the average shoe customer.
Well, it is incredible when you think that this shoe was made in my garage and Dean's shed. And all of them were for the first 18 months. To think, you know, we've got a shop on Savile Row, you know, we're making for Prince Charles, we've got Artisan of the Year, Shoemaker of the Year, all those different things is kind of mind-blowing, you know, and it can be kind of difficult to comprehend sometimes when you're dealing with the ins and outs of everyday business. But, you know, I think me and Dean should disappear this afternoon and raise a few glasses.
I think so. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
In your shed, I mean, do you still remember making this? I mean, could you think?
Yeah,
back
obviously it goes back. My father used to make shoes in that shed, and so it's sort of in my blood, you know. And happy
really
memories.
proud.
It's still there. We've still got the shed.
Yeah, that's great. Well, there's one last bit, and that is the patina service.
Yep.
And you guys have some models up front of the various shoes. I mean, if you don't mind, I'd love to see those.
Sure.
Yeah,
walk this way. Thank you. So there's an array of colours here. We tend to start with what we call a blonde crush, so it's a natural base colour. from this colour we can achieve, you know, colours like this. Peacock green is a little bit daring, a little bit different. And then we have purples, orchid. Which
Now
is
these are, how many
beautiful colour.
standard, I mean, these are the standard kind of, if
There's
you will,
about
standard patinas.
15, yeah.
15.
Yeah.
We've tried to cover the
These
whole
are,
spectrum.
A few of the standard patina colours we do, but then customers tweak those colours and sort of, you know, want to reverse Carollo, want a smoky Carollo, so they tend to sort of mix up a little bit to personalise their taste and their colour.
Is there a
choice.
number one selling kind of most popular patina, or?
The Beluga or the Criollo, I mean, that's the Criollo, because people tend to, you know, stay with browns and, you know, it's a little bit more conservative, but they want a little bit more depth to the colour. You know, it actually takes about 2 hours to patina one pair of shoes.
One pair of shoes, yes.
So that's why we occasionally do it as a line, but majority of the time it's just a made to order.
Yeah. I mean, this is a beautiful kind of vintage oak.
Yeah.
I mean, the depth of the patina and just the variation of color, I mean, gives the shoe a character that normally would take decades to develop.
Sure, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And the Burgundy is quite popular as well. So the Margot, which is
The claret, you know, the
claret.
royal claret.
This is
as-
what
as-
His Royal Highness shoes were made in.
Yeah,
so.
that's what he has.
And I think this is what Sam Norsworthy produced for his entry, not his entry, but as
As his
the World
patina
Championship
piece.
of patina.
Yeah.
He was,
Sure.
you know, doing this iconic piece.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, to think about how far you guys have come in 12 years, and you know, again, we were talking earlier about, you know, the first new factory in Northampton in over 100 years, the first luxury shoe store on Savile Row ever.
Yeah.
Is all, you know, really exciting stuff. And so, you know, thank you for, you know, helping keep us well dressed.
Thank you.
And for all your kind of passion and craftsmanship.
Oh, no, thank you for coming all the way over here to make the film, and you know, it's a special relationship.
Doesn't take much to get me in London.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Kirby.
Yeah,
Pleasure
thank
to see you
you,
again.
Tony.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you,
All
Dean.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Tony.
Kirby.
Yeah.
Really nice to
Yeah,
see you
pleasure.
again,
Yeah.
and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Hopefully over a pint.
Yeah.